Hey guys, today I will be installing a carbon fiber steering wheel on the Lexus IS 500. Here's the OEM steering wheel. It's pretty nice and I do like it, but I think this car deserves a little bit more than just this. So I decided to get a dry carbon steering wheel, a little bit thicker, a little bit nicer. So I will be showing you guys how to put that on today. And the first thing that we're gonna do is disconnect the battery posts because I don't want the airbag blowing up while I'm removing it. So I'll be taking that off. All right, 10mm bolt. All right, move that off to the side, make sure it doesn't ground into anything. I'm gonna do my best to do this all one-handedly for you guys. Again, 10 mil. I'm gonna let the system sit for a couple of minutes. That way it can discharge. All right, after struggling to pull that off, put it off to the side. Again, make sure it doesn't touch anything. Let it sit for a couple minutes so that the system can discharge a little bit and should be good to go. Moving on to the inside of the car, there's going to be a little tab opening right here. Take a flathead screwdriver and just carefully pry the cover off because you don't really want to scratch it, but there will be three tabs in here that release the airbag. If I can get this off. There we go. Perfect. All right. Same thing goes for this side. Let's see if I can get in there. You're gonna have the cruise control here. Just carefully pry. There's a little tab and just slide it through just like that. All right, I'm gonna do my best to show you guys where these tabs are. So you are going to have one tab right here, okay? You're just gonna push on that. Let's see if I can do it. Boom, that's one. Here is number two. Right there. There you go. Number two, and you can already see it's loosening up a little bit. There should be one more on the other side, right about this area. Okay, I decided to turn the steering wheel because I literally cannot see anything from that side. But I did find a tab. It's right here. You can just push. Boom. And we're out. Before I do that, I will turn the steering wheel straight again. Luckily there's no lock. And the reason I'm gonna do this is because I wanna make sure that when I put the new one on, it's nice and straight with my wheels. So this should just remove carefully. Okay. There you go, there's all the wires. This is the airbag terminals. This is where a pick comes in very, very handy. So we're going to start by taking off this ground piece right here first. There's a little tab. See, that'll focus for you guys. A little tab you're gonna just push down. Push down on that. Get it? And pull. Okay, should be off. Boom, that's off. Then these, you just get underneath here. Trying to do this one-handedly is kind of difficult, but you should just be able to carefully pry in here and lift up. There you go. I don't know if I got that on video. Let me show you guys this one. So you just try and get the pick in this little slot and pry up. Boom. If you guys can see that, let me refocus. pick works best because you can get right into that slot and just pop these up. And basically, I'm just gonna carefully wiggle these. Oh, got it. Jesus Christ. There's the airbag, guys. Pretty scary, but don't be scared. All right, guys, airbag's out, but we're not done just yet. We have this connector and this connector to remove. This is for the airbag, and this is for, I believe it's for all your controls and stuff that control the buttons, the heating element in here for the steering wheel, and that's all connected to your clock spring. So be very careful when you remove that, because I think it's like $1,000 for a new clock spring and from Lexus. So you don't want to do that. So just grab your pick and just pinch here and pull carefully. Come on. There we go. All right, I had to use 2 hands for this connector, but you just push on top with a pick and pull out just like that. And now, just have to remove this nut. All right, guys, 19mm socket on a breaker bar. Get that on there. All right, nice and snug. Try not to scratch anything. Grab some leverage for the steering wheel. All right, boom. We're out. Now you want to leave the nut on there about halfway. That way we can start, you know, because it's not going to want to come off. We got to start tapping it. Come on. There we go. We're off. Carefully now. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to mark this. I'll get right back to you guys in just a second. I'm gonna mark this right down the middle, right there, as the center, so I know that this is up and down. I'm also gonna mark the old steering wheel. We can line up with it like that, and I'll also mark it down here, because why not? All right, I did my best, you guys, just to kind of get an idea when I put the new one on. So now we're ready to remove it. All right, I missed another step. I'm kind of just going along with this, but we have another connector to remove right here. So let's pull that out using the pick. Okay, we're off. Sorry I didn't show that part. I needed 2 hands, but I carefully pulled off the steering wheel. Here's the clock spring. Do not free spin this, because if you do, the winded up wires in there will break. They will snap, and you will have to buy a new one. So carefully remove the steering wheel by kind of like putting your finger here so it doesn't move, and then feed these wires through this hole carefully, along with this one as well, and just leave this. Do not even touch this. Leave it nice and straight, the same way that it was. You can see the wires right in there. It's that white strip that spins. All right, I brought the steering wheel inside. Now it's time to take off all the electronics and transfer them over to the new steering wheel. Pretty sweet. We're gonna start by removing the Phillips screws on the paddle shifters. All right, we have to push this tab in and another tab right in there in order to slide out the shifters. Now just pinch and pull the connector like so. So all these screws are the same size. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to start by removing the stock for the cruise control right here. And just loosen those up. All right, it's loose. Just gonna push it inside, bring it out. And again, right here, pinch and pull this connector. Can I do it one-handedly? Yes. Set that off to the side. Let's keep removing. All right, screws have been removed off to the side, and just carefully pry up on this. See, it's already loose in there. And here, give a little wiggle. There we go, we're up and out. That's out. Nope, yeah. Yeah, okay, we're out. Keep that for later, we'll come back to that. We gotta remove these buttons. Let's keep going here. Now this piece also should slide out just like that. We'll put that over there with that so we don't mix things up. Take this screw out right here in the center. This will remove the back trim. I believe this screw is different, so remember that. Keep that right there. This looks like the heating element, so I'm just gonna remove that carefully right here. Remember guys, just take your time with this because you don't want to mess anything up, and definitely take pictures or make a video or something that will help you remember where things go. All right, that's off. I believe that should be off. All right, I figured out what's holding it on. It is this connector here for the heating element, which we don't need to use that anymore because I have it on the other steering wheel. So let's pull that out. There we go. Just like that. Now we should be able to release carefully. All right, what are you stuck on? Also, remove this connector here. All right, guys, I got it off by pinching here. However, this here broke just a little bit, right here. So be careful when you pull it off. Very, very small and easy to snap right there. Shouldn't be a big deal. Should be locking in with this anyway. But yeah, just keep that in mind. All right, this looks like some sort of like leveling sensor or something like that because it moves. And it's got a sensor on it. So I'm gonna transfer that over to the new one, remove these screws, and that'll be the first thing I will put on. Okay, I got this level sensor onto the new wheel. I just made sure that it was relatively straight, just for peace of mind and just in case. Make sure these are snug, but don't over tighten. Final thing to do on this steering wheel, and the OEM one, is to remove these airbag pins by lifting them up and out, just like that. There's one. Two. And three, right here. Just lift over this tab with a pick. Slide right out, just like that. And you are going to reverse order everything you just did on this wheel onto your new one. All right, I already got one in. Here's another one, for example. Just like that. And grab this one, this next one. Boom, just like that. Oh, yeah, just like that. All right, guys, I got this part kind of set in place, and I think I'm about to run into an issue with the heating element because the company that I bought this from put the heating wires kind of like almost in the way of where the buttons are supposed to enter and like clip into. And on the OEM one, see, Lexus did a very nice job in putting it out of the way. That way buttons snap nicely, so I'll let you guys know what I do with this. Got the magnetic pedal shifters installed. Here's the connector. It's a little bit different from the OEM one, but I just matched the black wire with the black wire on the OEM side and the white one with the colored wire here. Snug them up decently tight, and they feel pretty sweet. Onto the buttons and trim, and turn this over. Gonna have 3 screws here. One's hiding behind there. Just gonna remove those, and this cover here should separate up. So these Phillips screws are really tiny, so you're gonna need a small Phillips head to remove them. There we go. All right, I got these screws removed, and we're just going to pry carefully. There you go. Don't need that anymore. Transfer this over to the carbon one. All right, guys, after many frustrating attempts and trials, I'm sorry I did not record it. I put the OEM trim back on because I'm going to have to do some work to these. I had some fitment issues. This one actually sat down like quite nicely. However, it's rubbing on top on the button, so it made this button stick. I just don't like that. So I'm just going to run the OEM one for now. And then this bottom trim here, the carbon one, I'm gonna have to file some of these tabs down and make them cleaner because they just don't sit very nicely. And kind of a pain in the butt. So I want to run this for now just because I want to drive the car, and I will probably make a separate video on these. The steering wheel doesn't have to come off to do this trim. Just take the airbag out and a couple screws and should be good to go. You guys, it is time to put the steering wheel on. I marked it as best as I could, and now I'm gonna throw it on. So carefully bring these wires through the steering wheel from the clock spring. The airbag wires. Come on. You can do it. Okay. Got that through. There should be one more wire. Here. Okay, got that through. Stay on. Should be about there. That's pretty spot on. All right, that's in place. Or is it a tooth off? Let me try. What does that look like? No, definitely like this. Okay, is that fully in? Let's put this nut back on. Okay. Grab this. Let's tighten it as best as I can. Okay. It's gonna be long enough to reach. They say it's about 37 foot-pounds from what I've seen. I'm just gonna tighten it nice and tight. Yeah, that's good. All right, now all we have to do is plug in the rest of this stuff, basically. And that's it. So bring that over. Let's grab you guys over here so we can see what I'm doing. move those over. So this, oh, this is a mess. Okay. So this one goes here. Okay. This comes through. This one comes underneath. Like that. Boom. That's there. This is here. Reconnect this module. Okay. Now it's time for the airbag. I'm going to connect the ground. Then I'm gonna do the black one under the orange one. And then you basically just push these connectors down. All right. There's no way you can mess these up. It's black with black, orange with orange, and then the most satisfying part. Boom. Boom. And now we're ready to put into place, and be careful because you don't want to scratch the trim, but it should just pop in just like that. That's beautiful. That looks amazing. Now we're gonna connect the battery. All right, battery's all hooked up. It's not gonna start the first time. It'll die. All right, you guys, I did a little bit of sanding and trimming. I found out what the issue was with the buttons not fitting on this carbon trim. I looked back in the videos and I found that on the stock trim, this little like screw stud here, plastic stud, is not needed. It actually doesn't even exist on the other one. It's just nice and flat. It's only you only need this one, and then there's a third one, but that goes onto the actual button trim. So here, for example, this would go right in here. It sits in these studs, and then the screws would go through and sandwich. Basically, the buttons would sandwich this trim all together, and then this would be the third screw right there, and it would look like this. Okay. I used some side cuts, and I trimmed that piece right there. I made it nice and flat, and also trimmed whatever like bubble was out here. So this here is nice and flat. Did the same thing on the other side. First I used side cuts, and then I used a very sharp knife to start basically carving it down. So I'll let you guys know if this fits, and we'll go from there. All right, let's get in here. Got this back together. That trim looks very nice. It fits very nice. I kept the stock buttons. I think that it gives it a nice break. It matches the airbag. I decided to go with the OEM airbag because the quality just seems nicer to me, and the logo color and size and stuff. The IS500 logo is actually 2.5 inches wide, and the one that I got was 3 inches. And according to the supplier, the old RCF airbag covers, like pre-LCI, if you will, were a lot bigger here. But I also didn't like that this like SRS airbag lettering. It just said airbag, and it was off to the side, and I don't know. The quality just wasn't there for me up to my standards, so I didn't run that. But yeah, I trimmed down this as I showed you guys earlier, and it worked just fine. Everything works great. Now, when I start this car, because I disconnected the battery, it is going to start for like a second, and it's going to die. See? However, don't be scared. It will start the second time. Just like that. Also, you will get a light here for the parking sensors and for traction and stuff like that, whatever. But it'll all go away. So it says parking assist unavailable because the battery disconnected and all that stuff. But don't worry, just drive the car and it'll go away like 5 to 10 minutes. But yeah, there it is, guys. There's the install. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope I taught you guys something. You can do this yourself. It's kind of fun. It's like a puzzle. Last thing, don't forget to put these covers back on. They're super easy. They just pop right in, right there. But yeah, check it out, guys. I'll give you guys some driving clips here in a second.